wasn't able to do tonight. What did you see and how did we, I mean, I don't even know what to ask. Like, how?
Well, desperation won. And then I think they just rode that wave of their crowd. They played faster. They made it a helter-skelter game. And they just took the Denver Nuggets out of rhythm, led by Anthony Edwards, who came out with a different purpose. He talked about it in that sideline hit at the end. I just had to still be aggressive, even they're double teaming. But I love the defense. I love everything about the Minnesota in this game.
Yeah, and McDaniels, too. I mean, he came out, went 8 for 10 from the field.
Yes, McDaniels is big, but I think it's the first game of the 6 guys where everyone in the starting 5 played well, did something positive. Of course, Naz Reid, 6th man of the year, he comes in, he plays positive. But to Smitty's point, there was never a lull in the game where you said Denver's going to come back. They'd make a run, timeout. We all sit back and say, okay, yeah, Denver's going to make their run. They'd come out of that timeout, and they're the defense again for Minnesota. So the number 1 defense showed up again.
They showed up.
Like in game 2, and that's what we talked about in the pregame show. Could they show that again? And they did tonight. Now they're ready for game 7.
Yeah, defensively, they were so physical. They slowed down Nikola Jokic, which doesn't happen very often. He only had 9 rebounds tonight. Rudy Gobert on the other side, 14 rebounds. You needed him to come out and have a good performance. Naz Reid as well with 11 rebounds, 10 points. One of you guys said before the game that Naz Reid needs to have a big game, right?
Yep, we both thought, well, all season long, when Cat went down, we all said, well, maybe Minnesota will slip a little bit. Well, Ant-Man reminded us of how good he is. But Naz Reid was a major factor why they hovered 1, 2, and 3 all season long with the injury. So now coming off the bench, Cat's making shots. You talked about Gobert making shots. Now he comes in and puts icing on the cake, Smitty.
Yes, indeed. I just love him. I was just saying he needed more minutes because when he plays, they just a different ball game. He brings a different dynamic.
Yeah.
He can shoot. He can rebound. He can switch out. He's just a perfect fit playing against the Denver Nuggets. Can anybody stop Joker? No. But obviously it puts a lot of pressure on Denver when they have those guys out there, him and Cat at the 4 and 5.
I think it's also really big, too. You need your bench to come out and give you something. Denver didn't have their first bench points until about 4 minutes left in the third quarter.
When
Christian
you said
Brown
that, I said, wait a minute,
had 2 points. Yes, the Denver bench tonight only had 9 points compared to the 36 that the Minnesota Timberwolves have.
So if we're being honest, basically 36-0. So you basically get a bench point to almost, 10 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So the game's pretty much over. They're already up by 30-some points.
Yeah.
So once again, you just got to give a lot of credit to Coach Finch, really getting these guys ready to play. Ant-Man led the way, being the star of the team, but all the role players chipped in as well. So it's a big-time performance. They're not ready to go home yet.
Yeah, and Mike Conley. I mean, we forget that he didn't play also in Game 5. He had that Achilles soreness. Now he's back, and he was very aggressive tonight. 13 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists.
Knocking down threes. I think also being able to use hunting his shots. And one thing I love about their starters, if you look at only 3 turnovers from the starters, that is huge for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They got to get shots at the bucket, and they did that tonight.
Yeah, and on the other side, the Denver Nuggets had 12 turnovers. Timberwolves had 19 points off of that. Do you feel like 3D, we're going to see a similar defensive performance? Because they're thinking in their minds, hey, we're going back to Denver. We won the first 2 games of this series here.
That's what makes that question so interesting, El, because game 2, they showed us that they can do it. So now it should be a sense of confidence where we can go on the road, we watch game 2's tape, can we bring that energy and effort that we showed? You should be able to. Now, on the flip side of that, did you watch the Joker's face going down the stretch there?
He was not
happy.
happy.
You saw how the cameras on. He was sitting there very stone-faced, locked in. Because I thought, and Smitty and I were talking about it, maybe the Wolves should have got their starters out a few more minutes earlier instead of rubbing it in, so to speak. But at the end of the day, Game 7 is going to be epic. Let's see the superstars lead the way.
Yeah, Game 7 is going to be so much fun to watch. That's going to be Sunday night. Now, if you are on the Denver Nuggets right now, you won the championship last year. It's that championship mentality. You were down 0-2 in the series after losing 2 home games. I feel like they don't feel maybe like their backs are against the wall. Like they're like, oh, flush it, you move on to the next game, right?
Yes
to
and
a certain
no.
Extent?
To a certain extent. I mean, they got to remember this one. They got to soak this one in and ask their question, why? Not about making shots, but the energy. They didn't have any energy in this game. And obviously, this is a game you want to close out. It seemed like they was doing 3D. You take us home, Joker. Jamal, you take us home. Yeah. You take us home. Everybody put it on somebody else. And I think far as not just scoring, just the energy, the rebounding. The Denver Nuggets wasn't flying around at all. They're going to have that. They're going to have a great game. And obviously the best player on the floor has to be Jokic.
Yeah.
You can't let Ant-Man be the best player. then they're going home.
Yeah, tonight Ant-Man was the best player on the floor. Another guy, Jaden McDaniels as well. Let's take a look at the scoreboard for this one. A 45-point victory for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Again, that's the second largest playoff win when facing elimination in NBA history. Let's send you back out to Minnesota right now. We have ourselves a special guest bringing Jaden McDaniels after this massive win. First of all, congratulations. How are you feeling heading into this one? Backs against the wall. You guys came out not just won, but you dominated.
Thank you. I'm feeling all right. I mean, it's always good to win, but it's not. It's still got one more game to play, and we're just going to try to keep this intensity the next game.
Jaden, Steve Smith, congratulations. And I know you've seen it. You guys probably talked about it. Just the intensity. Y'all played defense well throughout the entire season and the playoffs. It just was a total difference today, just like it was in Game 2. Is there anything you can point your finger to why it hasn't been this type of intensity?
I'll say probably just us not staying even keel. Like just when they go on runs, we kind of break off a little bit. But I'll say today they went on their run at the beginning, and Coach told us we're going to go on our run and punch back. So that's what we did, and just staying even keel, staying together is like when we're at our best. So that's what we did tonight.
Jaden, Smitty and I have been lucky to play with some great players, and now you're next to a young, great player in Ant. Can you take our viewers through how much confidence he puts in you and how much fun to play with Ant-Man?
Yeah, I mean, it's super fun to play with him. I mean, he installs confidence in me every day. Every time I see him, like days before games, he'll text me like, "Bruh, you gotta be super aggressive. Like when you're not aggressive, we don't win. We don't be good." So, I mean, having a teammate like that is nothing more you can ask for, because he turned into a superstar. We see him get buckets, and we know we could do the same thing as well. So it's nothing better to have as a teammate than Ant.
Jaden, take me inside your locker room right